Well, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Stock, and this video is for entertainment purposes only, and holy cow, Ethereum is burning on the testnet, on the Ropsten testnet. The London hard fork EIP 1559 has gone live on the testnet, and what we see is that base fee burn taking place. It's kind of incredible to watch. We'll see the impact that it has on Ethereum, and look at when it's going live, so that way it affects the mainnet going forward from here, and talk about how that affects Ethereum overall and its price for its Ether token. So stick around and let's get ready to rock. Welcome back. We're going to go right into the details of the launch of EIP 1559, the London hard fork on the Ropsten testnet that has gone live on Thursday, June 24th, and talk about the performance that it has, the impact that it's going to have on the gas fees that we have, the base fee burn that we're looking at, and when is this going to go live on the mainnet. Those are all things that we'll cover in here, and also there's even a pretty awesome tool that you can look at that you can actually see how much Ethereum is being burned, how much Ether is being burned, and my goodness, it's kind of hard to imagine just up in almost, we'll call it literal digital smoke. It is just going away every day because of that. And some of that does get washed out from some of the rewards that come back, but still, it's just, it's incredible to see that value that's no longer there, and something that can ultimately lead to Ethereum being deflationary overall. Let's get right into it. All right, so when you look here, the headline here is EIP 1559. That's the London hard fork nears as Ethereum upgrade launches to the testnet. And when we scroll down on this, we see that in the early hours of June 24th, lead developer Tim Bako tweeted that the first block has been produced on the Ropsten testnet. And if we go to Twitter, there we go, we can see the Tim Bako, and down here's what they're referring to. We have a block. It took a bit longer than expected, but London is live on Ropsten. So up on the testnet, this is not the actual mainnet for Ethereum, so you won't see those changes for about a month, and we'll get back into that. But this is here on Twitter if you want to go ahead and take a look. In this article, we also get more of an update at that on the Gorelli testnet, which is scheduled for June 30th. Following that, it will be launched on Rinkeby testnet on July 7th, and finally the upgrade will be rolled out on the Ethereum mainnet later in the month. So what we get to see right now is the stability of this change using the London hard fork, and if everything goes well with that, then we see 1559 go live on the mainnet in July. As far as gas savings go, we don't know that there will be any big reduction in gas fees. And right here in the article it says, unfortunately, London EIP 1559 will not result in a massive reduction in gas fees as confirmed by Ethereum Software Solutions consensus. So here they give us that quote, this is not the intent of EIP 1559 as a side effect of a more predictable base fee. So what we get is more stability with those base fees, that we know better how much to expect it's going to cost to do transaction on the Ethereum mainnet. EIP 1559 may lead to some reduction in gas prices if we assume that fee predictability means users will overpay for gas less frequently. So we should have more stability with those gas fees that are being paid for transactions on Ethereum, and that overpayment may still occur, just less often. Getting into the next paragraph, we find out what EIP does do and what it doesn't do. So what it does is it changes the current fee auction mechanism, and it gets rid of the first price auction as the main gas fee calculation, and then it tells us about the new mechanism that's being introduced, that there will be a discrete base fee for transactions to be included in the next block. Users or applications that want to prioritize can add a tip to speed things up a little. We also find out that base fee, and remember that base fee does get burned away, it will change depending on how full the block is at the time of the transaction. So if we have a lot of congestion, that base fee goes up, and if there's not a lot of congestion, that base fee goes down. This will allow dApps, wallets, and protocols to automatically set lower and more accurate gas fees. Absolutely awesome for predictability when it comes to how much it's going to cost to do transactions on the Ethereum mainnet when EIP 1559 does go live next month. And then they refer to this major upside as the deflationary change to Ethereum's economics. And they talk about the base fee burning, and we've mentioned that several times now, so I think it's worthwhile to take a look at this. This is called Watch the Burn, and you can just go to watchtheburn.com and you can watch this happen. So you can see, since I've been on this page, it tells me that I've experienced almost half an ether being burned by observing 113 blocks that contain, well, okay, that just jumped 114 blocks. Wow, it just keeps on going on us. And we can see that since I've been on here alone, that there have been 239 ether in rewards. And you can see how much the total fees have been burned so far. And if we switch that to United States denomination, based on its current price, which is around $2,000 per Ethereum, we can see that this is over $1.5 million in United States denomination for almost 800 ether that are being burned. So it's incredible to think that $1.6 million in value has just been wiped out. So something big about this change that we have, especially as we move on to proof of stake versus the proof of work. Right now, the miners, what they do is they go ahead and they settle the transactions. That's the consensus mechanism that's currently in use, and what they need to do in order to cover the cost of all the electricity to do all that computation and everything is that once they get those Ethereum rewards, that they have to dump them back onto the market. So they have to sell that ether in order to cover their costs, and so that's excess selling pressure, and it's something that helps hold the price down right now while we're still under proof of work. So as we move on to proof of stake going into early 2022 is when it's expected to come out. When we do switch to that, people are rewarded for holding on and staking their Ethereum versus selling it in order to cover their costs, because it's no longer done through proof of work, which is highly energy intensive. We go to something that's like 1/10,000th, it's like 99.95% more efficient than what we have with the current proof of work consensus algorithm by switching over to proof of stake. So far less energy, so it should be a lot cheaper, and people don't have to dump out their ether back onto the market. They don't have to add to the selling pressure, which keeps on depressing the price and keeps on dumping more and more supply into the market and decreasing demand in the meantime. So what we end up getting out of all that by switching over to proof of stake that ultimately comes along with this base fee burn that we have right now, is that we get an increase in price in Ethereum over time, which helps add to my bullish case. So let's take a look at the recent price action for Ethereum, and this is on coinmarketcap.com, and I like to go to the trading view for the chart when we look at this, and you can see that right now it is currently trading still just under $2,000 per ether when we take a look, and that is a decent level of resistance for us to hit that 2,000. It's important that we break back up over that. You can see down here that we sort of bottomed out right around $1,700 before quickly coming back up. So like more like 1,800 United States dollars is what we would be looking at for where that support starts to come in, and then we have room up to almost $2,900 in order to find an area of very hard resistance for us. So we are currently sort of trading in that range right now. Bitcoin prices are still depressed. They're back up over $30,000 per Bitcoin, and that is going to continue to have an influence on what we see through Ethereum now. So not only do we have the base fee burn when the London hard fork EIP 1559 goes live, but that should also make for more predictable fees, which could make more appeal for Ethereum, for the dApp developers, wallet developers, and everything. But over time, we also switch from having about a 4% rate of inflation per year on Ethereum to having something that is much less than that, because there are far fewer rewards going out. So we have the base fee burn, we have reduction in rewards, and when we switch to proof of stake, we also reduce the amount of selling pressure from the miners that we get, and so that should be things that allow us to add upward pressure on the price per ether looking at this going forward. So you see cases coming out about, by the end of 2021, by the end of 2025, that we would hit $10,000 or $20,000 per ether. All of those start to become a lot more believable when you consider how the economic impacts surrounding Ether's current price and how those will change over time as Ethereum evolves over time. And when you consider the changes that are coming to Ethereum over time between the London hard fork, switching over to proof of stake, when you switch over to sharding, which makes it far more efficient and so far more useful, we take a lot of that downward pressure that's currently on it from high amounts of congestion, high amounts of work, excess selling pressure from the miners, switching over to something that could be deflationary, where there are less ether being made, there's more ether being burned, there's less selling pressure from the miners. These are all things that as the usefulness builds and as we get more scalability out of Ethereum, we increase the usefulness of Ethereum over time, and this is something that is just going to scale rapidly over the next coming years, and it's going to cause significant spikes in the price, in my opinion. So let me summarize. The EIP 1559 London hard fork is available on the Ropsten testnet right now, and it's going to go on a few other testnets before it does go live. As long as that stability is there, we should see that come out in July, and that base fee burn is going to change how much Ethereum is in existence because it starts to burn it off. Proof of stake will even switch that more dynamically. We also lose that 4% per year for Ethereum, and that drops significantly, that not as much is being produced. And we also, since there is less incentive for the proof of work miners in order to dump Ethereum to cover their costs on the market, then that takes away some of the selling pressure. We should have a lot of really good days ahead of us for Ethereum, and the calls that we have for $10,000 per ether, even up to $20,000 per ether by 2025, I think that those are more than reasonable, especially as we see the scalability play out and we get all the way through the Ethereum 2.0 upgrades that are on the horizon. So thank you guys for stopping by. If you want to check out my Patreon, there is a link down in the description. You can go over there, check out my growth portfolio, my dividend portfolio, my weekly newsletter, my weekly watch list of stocks. Also, down in the description, I have a link to WEBULL. By signing up and depositing $100, you get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,850. I get 2 free stocks through the referral. So thank you for any support that you show, even if it is just watching these videos. I really appreciate it. Finally, one big way that you can help is to just tap that subscribe button. Close your eyes if you have to and just tap, and then hit the notification bell so you can see anytime my videos come out. Hit the like button to help out the algorithm, help this get upgraded. And the more support that you guys show me, the more support that I can bring to you through these opportunities that I find in the crypto world and in the stock market. Thank you all so much for any support that you show. It does mean a whole lot to me. Last thing, remember these videos are for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research and due diligence. Contact a financial advisor before making any financial decisions. I'm Dr. Stock. Thanks for rocking with me. Now go get that money.